was amazing. I think of course I loved every single word of it, but when you brought it back around to what we were talking about, I was like, that's mastery. Because me and my ADHDness would have been like, I don't know what we were talking about, but here we are now. And so now we're going to move forward. You circled back and
I
remembered, and
feel
I'm
like
so
you've said
proud of
that
you
to
for
me
that.
before. I think you've said that before on a video you were watching. I'm like, I love to sit back.
I
I
believe
could get
that.
distracted by things, but I'll come back. I don't like open loops.
Man. Man, I keep them open. I keep people guessing for years sometimes. Like, what was that? I did it in a course not too long ago. One of my students said, so she said she was going to go over this, but then I didn't hear the answer to that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I need to make another video, finish the loop. That's so funny. So now what I want to kind of anchor and end on is let's bring this into our everyday, like let's just kind of talk and let's just jive a little bit inside of thought leadership and inside of really just bringing what you bring to the table. And I want to trigger people's ideas. I want for them to get ideas from this as to like how they can use their purpose, how they can use that inside of their own thought leadership for their business, regardless of what kind of business it is. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yes, I think it makes sense. Well, I'm going to tell you
Okay.
where I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
So
I love that. I love it.
it might make sense, it might not. So, okay, I think the big, and it's interesting, not interesting or ironic that I'm coming back to identity and who you are. Because, one of the things that I see a lot in the business world, okay, entrepreneurial world, and I don't care if you're a personal brand, right? And because a lot of people could say like this would only apply to personal brands, but it's bigger than that. People buy
Yeah.
you. People buy
Yeah.
you. They buy everything about you. They buy your energy. They buy your vibration. They buy your light. They buy every single thing about you. So much. I can give you a great example. I went to pick up a rental car the other day because we're going car free where we are in Arizona right now. So I went to pick up a rental car. I never get the upgrade because I'm cheap. So I never get the upgrade. I never add on the insurance because I have my own. And this guy was like this, he was just really conversational. He's talking to everybody in the room. And this is like a car dealership in like South Phoenix. Now, anybody who knows Arizona knows what I'm talking about when I say that, right? It's kind of dingy, right? I get up to the cash register and I'm only renting my car for a day. And he goes, he tells me what I have. He's like, he's like, I could give you the nice Mercedes Benz out there for an extra $25 a day. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And then next thing I know, I'm buying the insurance, right? And I'm like, this is so weird. But I was talking to him afterwards in the parking lot, and I said, I got to tell you, we got into this conversation about how he's like the top salesman in all of the country for Hertz on add-ons. And I was like, I got to tell you, you're great at it because like I never buy anything extra, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, it wasn't his sales strategy. It's not the way he looked because he was down to earth, he was real, he was relational. He took a phone call from his wife because he was worried about her when I was talking to him. That's why I bought it. And so I have people who will come at me and they'll say to me like, well, I'm not a personal brand, so it doesn't matter how I dress or what I look like or, if I'm sitting in a dark room or whatever the case may be, but it does matter. It does matter
Yeah.
because our energy is so much bigger than what people are seeing behind the computer screen. It's how we show up behind the computer screen. And, I could talk about this for hours. It's the hardest conversation I have to have with people who are putting themselves out on social media. And I had this conversation, bless her soul, with one of my clients a couple months ago who's trying to sell, she's trying to sell fat loss programs. And her marketing is fat loss, fat loss, fat loss, fat loss. And she's very open with me that she's on this journey where she's got to lose weight, right? And I asked her, I said, what are you
Mm-hmm.
trying to sell? And she goes, I'm selling fat loss. And I said to her, I said, would you buy from you? And she said, no. And I said, why not? And she goes, because I'm fat right now. And I said, okay, let's keep going. I said, tell me why you're fat right now, which I know there's people cringing at the word fat, but fat is a fact. It's not an emotion,
No, let's
everybody.
go.
Okay. Fat is a fact.
Yeah.
She said to
Right.
me, she goes, well, I wouldn't, no, she goes, the reason I'm fat is because I've gone through a lot of hormonal challenges, and going through those hormonal challenges caused me to gain weight. And I said, well, that's your message then. Hey, all the women out there who've
Yes.
gone through hormone challenges and blah, 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 that's your message. The problem is you're trying to sell something that the human brain is going, wait, what? So we vibrate. We got to remember, guys, we are energy. We are energy. And if our energy is not, if it's not of us, and it's dull and it's lackluster and it's tired, it is going to be felt. So the greatest thing coming back around purpose and selling and in business is if you are not spending time on you. And self-care is like the 2-letter word that's all over the place. But what does self-care mean? Self-care does not mean you've got to wake up and meditate for 5 minutes or go for a walk or do this. Yes, there's some certain things that are truths. Self-care is that you need to find what makes you vibe. You need to find what
Yep.
gets you alive every morning. You know, people look at me in the social media world and they'll be like, oh, you're always so put together. Somebody last week stopped me on the street and was like, do you always look like that? And I was like, yes, but it's not for you, and it's not for my husband, and it's not for anybody else. It's for me. Because when I feel good, I do good. And so people in business have to spend, I don't care if you're selling Facebook ads, if you're selling markers, if you're selling paper, your energy attracts your tribe, simply put. And if we're
Yep.
not in that space, we're never going to succeed the way we want to. So that's my soapbox on that one.
Yes. Oh, I love that soapbox. It's so good. You even see people, there are people that are saying, that used to poo-poo personal brand. Like, we're calling it personal brand, but it's really not. It's thought leadership. We're saying personal brand, but that's not really what it is. But it's that's what people call it. So we'll use the words people use. But there are people that have found a lot of success by bypassing the personal brand or the being themselves part of it. And they've come back in the last year or so, and they're even saying, I was wrong. I was
Ryan Lee is a
wrong.
great
I need
example.
to be doing that.
Ryan
What's
Lee,
that?
do you know Ryan Lee? Ryan Lee,
Yeah,
he's one of the
yeah.
greatest examples of
Hormozy
that.
just did it too.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest examples of that. I think because in the end, guys, you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have yourself, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a gaping a gaping hole.
Yep.
And I think that we live in a fast track world, right? We live in a world, and I'm not really dissing this, but I'm just gonna say it. We sell 5-minute journals. We sell really quick meditative tracks. You're not going to get to know yourself in 5 minutes a day. You're not. And I'm not saying that it's got to be like hours upon hours upon hours, but if you're not committing to yourself as a thought leader, if you're not
Yeah.
committing to yourself, at some point in time, it's going to come back and it's going to bite you in the butt. It's going to, whether it's
Yeah.
financially or personally. I know so many people, these multi millionaire, billionaire people who they'll
Yeah.
tell me straight to my face, I have all the money in the world, but I'm miserable. My relationships are falling apart. My health is in the tank. When you die, people, there's only one person there. You. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's too short of a life, in my opinion, to live not knowing yourself on that level.
Yeah, 100% agreed. 100% agreed. And then we'll go ahead and end this, but which is so hard. We're just gonna have
I
to
know,
talk
right?
later on. Like, we're gonna have to do another one
20 minutes later,
whenever we
right?
can get back on. Right? Yeah, exactly. Um, but there's something, it's so important for us to, as thought leaders, which, I mean, by nature, a thought leader is somebody who has influence in their community, but also that brings new thoughts and new ideas and new perspectives to a community. That's the whole point, is that we don't regurgitate things. A thought leader isn't somebody that finds all the quotes and memes and reserves them up. Now, do I sometimes? Yes, because they're funny. But are there also new ideas and new perspectives? Yes, 100%, because that's what we do, right? And so as a thought leader that's bringing newness into the world, right? Like new perspective, new ideas. You need to be digging, as Carrie's talking about, you need to be digging into yourself to find that stuff, because all of the stuff that's on the surface is what you're being fed. All the stuff that's in the topsoil right here is just what you're picking up from the environment. The realness is going to be deep. And so I totally suggest reaching out to Carrie. We're going to have links in the, or we already do, we're pre-recording. We have links in the show notes. And then also, if you're watching on YouTube, the links are going to be there as well to jump into to Carrie's world. So regardless of like what you want to do, like her website, or if you want to jump into the Unstoppable Woman Project, we're going to have links for that there as well. But that's going to be the place where you drill. So you drill deep, in order to be able to bring up that oil, so to speak, of the fresh ideas, the fresh perspectives. And it's not, okay, so I'm going to keep talking. So it's not just the fresh ideas or the fresh perspectives. It's to stand confidently inside of those. That's actually what it is. Because whenever it comes up, then to be able to say it, and not to say it with a squeaky voice, but to say it with a voice of empowerment, a voice of like, this is what I see, and then to just leave it there and to let people grow from that thing that you just said. That takes a lot of what Carrie is talking about. Carrie, what do you have as last words?
I had like 25 last words as you were finishing all that. I want to
Sorry.
actually lean
I kept
into the new thoughts and new perspectives. And one of the things I love to say is we're all DJs. None of us are really artists, right? We're all DJs of this amazing world and these philosophies and these concepts and these lessons we've learned. What makes it new for me is that it's new through my experience, and nobody's ever lived my experience before. So I can take a Buddhist philosophy and I can teach it differently than the last person because I'm teaching it through my lens. And I think that, it's interesting because as we were talking, I just realized that's one of my challenges with a lot of the AI chat GPT stuff. And I'm not dissing technology and AI at all. I'm saying for
Right.
me personally, you will never read anything of mine that's ever spit out from chat GPT. And I'm going to tell you why. Because my word is my heart. And I don't want something. I thrive on processing it through my experience and my thought process. And how am I going to deliver this to the world? I don't think it's original thought, but I think it's original experience. And so when I take these concepts, match them with my experience, put them together, that's when I can give back. And it's the reason coaches out there, if you are like I'm speaking specifically to coaches, if you ever stop your journey of your life and your growth, that's when your business is going to hit a ceiling, because my business continues to grow as I grow. If I don't grow, my business doesn't grow. So that's where I'll leave us.
That's it. That's it. I love it. And now, because we were going to talk about ChatGPT when we came on, and now that we're an hour in, I do want to say something about it though. We'll never get off a call, Carrie, is the thing, because you say something and then I'm like, no, I want to say something. And then you're probably going to want to say something. This is how it goes.
I'll refrain.
Guys, I wish you all had friends like this, like where you could just vibe for a while. But let's talk about responsible chat GPT usage or responsible AI usage just really quick, because something that is concerning me is seeing out in the interwebs or on the social medias, right, is seeing straight posts that came from chat GPT or whatever, unedited, going into somebody's personal profile as though they said it. And everything in me is like, oh my word, no, like don't do that. Because everybody, we can smell it a mile away. We have this thing in our reptilian brain that helps us to see fakes, okay? And a lot of us, we call it skepticism. Well, it's really, it's keeping us from being killed a long time ago, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it helps us to see fakes. And so when we read that, we're like, fake, not right.
Yes.
Okay, that's going to keep people from following you. That's going to make them unfollow you, maybe even block you, because here's the deal. They now see you as somebody who is marketing to them. They now see you as somebody who is just selling them, that you're not actually showing up in social media as your true self. And so then they feel that way about you and everything that you do. You guys, it's a lot harder to come back from that than it is to like make a little bump in the road of something you actually did, right? So there is that. Now, the responsible way to use it, in my opinion, and this is just me stating my opinion, but the responsible use is to use it for ideas. So to counteract the blank screen, right? The prompt that's just flashing on the screen where you're like, what am I going to talk about? That to get ideas. Okay, these are my people. Here is what I help people with. What would be a good idea of what they want to hear? And so like to get ideas and then let your mind riff on the idea. Let your mind mull on the idea and then say it yourself. But guys, don't copy paste. It's such a disservice. Okay, Carrie, go.
I gotta say something. Okay.
I know, it's totally
I
okay.
gotta bring this back because I could not agree more. And I'm telling, like, we've done a lot of business coaching, Brian and I, and we always come up against the same kinds of language from people with posting and sharing, and like, well, I'm afraid of what I'm going to say, and if people are going to receive it, and like, I don't know how to say it this way, and every time I go to post on social media, I freeze. Chat GPT is not your answer. Mindset is, right? Like we gotta stop trying to shortcut. Like if you're trying, you really need to ask yourself. I think you really need to ask yourself, why am I using this product? Why am I using Chat GPT? And if you're using it as a mechanism to avoid the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, to avoid the stuff that makes you challenged, to avoid the stuff that scares you, you might end up bringing in clients off of that Chat GPT, maybe. But then when you bring them in, you still got to serve them, right? So if you can't
Right.
post on social media because you're afraid to post on social media, your problem is not technology, right? And so we're working like what, and this brings me back. You can tell how passionate I am about this because it brings me back
Uh-huh.
to why are you even doing it in the first place? Why are you an entrepreneur
Yes.
if you're afraid of talking to people? If you need more money, go and get a part-time job while you're building your business. Don't shortcut the integrity of your business because shortcutting the integrity of your business now is going to impact the long-term longevity of it and the sustainability of it. We cannot rely on technology and these tools around us to overturn the nature of us as human beings. We just
Yeah.
can't. It
Yeah.
scares me. It scares me, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I agree with you. I do think that there is a sort of diamond in the rough, if you will, that I'm pretty excited about. And I think that that is those of us who choose no. Those of us who say, because there's so many people that are choosing to copy paste, that now those of us that choose to show up as ourself, as our true self, with flaws and all, being human, guys. I mean, shoot, it's for those of us that decide to do that. We are going to stick out.
100%.
Like we will be seen as not copy paste, and we are the diamonds in the rough. That will be us. And so that is the beautiful thing, is that all of these folks that are just trying to push an easy button to try to make a
They're
few
going to punch
bucks,
themselves out.
God bless them, but they will not be making a few bucks, right? And then they will slough off and they will fall away, as they should,
And I've seen it.
And
I've been online on Facebook for what, 16 years in business now. And in the 16 years
yeah,
I've been in line in business, I've seen them come, I've seen them go. Like, and I can almost
yep,
predict. I can almost predict who's gonna go because
yep.
it's just the way it happens. It's the way it works.
It's the cycle, right?
Yeah,
It's the cycle. You see it, yeah. You see them come, and then you watch them go, and you're like,
exactly.
oh, I'll see it. See you next time
Yeah.
something real cool comes along. So, okay, Carrie, we're gonna revisit. We're gonna talk at another time, another time in another place. Maybe I'll just come out to Phoenix,
Yes.
and
Do it.
maybe we could riff out there. That would be
Yes.
pretty
I
cool.
love it.
Um, But you guys, okay, so there's links everywhere, right? So show notes, if you're on YouTube, there's links there. Make sure that you reach out to Carrie, check out what she's doing, check out her schedule and see if she's coming near you. If she's coming to a town near you, make sure that you go, but then also make sure that you bring your friends as well, because you guys, this is a community thing. This, us being able to grow together is a community effort. This isn't the thing, we don't want Carrie to be like the best kept secret of the people that are like, I love Carrie, she's helping me so much, and then like you do not share her with your friends. That is not, a good friend does not do that. So anywho, Carrie, thank you for coming on. I love you. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. I can't wait to do it again.
Yay. All right, guys, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.